rut it up.
So there, Foster up and over on his first attempt. They get 2 attempts to clear each height. No problem at all there for Bubs. I expect that everybody is going to clear this because the tackiness of that face really is launching them up. Massimo Bianconcini from Italy.
A lot of people talking about the runs that he had in practice. Very interested to see if he could be a factor. Now, we'll talk about the ruts. You can see them there ahead of the riders. They are pretty deep, and they're only going to get deeper, especially in the tranny or the transition at the bottom. You can see how the top of the face is harder. There's less moisture in that. The ramp has been built for about, or the dirt mound has been built for about 7 days, and
yeah, Libor Podmal, Czech Republic. I talked to him today about his style. He's got that real strange, almost seat-bouncing style when he approaches the transition, which you would think wouldn't get him over. What is he wearing on his head? Brian Deegan. This is not rally.
No, it's not. He's wearing it. Looks like his helmet from the Lucas Oil Series. I don't know for sure, but I think he wears that same helmet in the rally car.
You remember back in 2000 when he showed up at the step-up competition in San Francisco with an open-face helmet.
And actually, it's not like his off-road helmet because his off-road helmet has a Moto visor on it, so I stand corrected. And Brian, the general, is back at step-up.
Really interesting that he chose to take that diagonal line, something we saw Ronnie Renner doing a lot of back in Barcelona.
Now, Brian was really excited about the step-up when I talked to him a day ago and over recent time, but I think he was a little less excited when he rode the bike. We'll talk about it as we continue on, but he's riding Bryce Hudson's motorcycle, and I don't think he's overly excited on the total setup.
No, he said that he was having some challenges with Hudson's motorcycle. Of course, Bryce Hudson, who put in a phenomenal run.
I would say so.
It was a big surprise that he won, but Bryce unfortunately getting injured at that same event where
broke his leg the next day.
Oh, such a sad story, but looking forward for Bryce getting back. So biting easily over. Renner now taking a look at this. I don't think that Ronnie, who's your daddy Renner, is going to have any problem at 23 feet.
And I'd like to clarify, 23 feet, 7 meters. It doesn't look very high off the top of the lip, but we measure from the ground up. We'll explain that because people will say, why? Why not measure from the top? Well, because you could end up airing it all the way to flats on the backside. And you can't really have a consistent takeoff point as Ronnie starts all the way from the right.
And then he just kind of brought it across a little bit on the face. Going to have to be careful of those ruts, though, if he's trying to do that cross technique for the whip that he was doing in Barcelona. The bar being raised to 25 feet. They made it look too easy. So now they're pushing the bar up by 2 feet, and Brian Foster getting ready. Look at this face. Aaron Bates, you got more on this course?
Completely disappointed. Right, you guys, track designer Jesse.
And it sounds like some technical
a little bit of technical
there.
challenges with Aaron's mic. So Brian Bubs Foster, he actually works for Deft Family Gloves, which is owned by Nate Adams. And here it comes. Oh!
This is going to be an issue. Now, we talked about the setup. Who is here? Who is riding? Really the biggest competitor, I think, tonight. The face looks so smooth and buttery, but it is so soft at the bottom for the riders. And I think what happens is you gauge for a certain speed that you know you should go. You see how he hit that transition and it sucked the life out. He just sucked the life out of the bike, and he kind of like stalled in the face almost. And that is going to be the trick tonight. Getting your projection through that transition.
Here's a question for you. Do you think the way that face in the transition really does suck the power up, does that compress the forks and then they rebound out maybe? And
it will make a difference.
Too vertical.
Absolutely. Everybody gets 2 shots at every height. You miss one, you get another shot. That could play into tiebreakers later on, but right now it's playing into the fact that Foster might be out right here at 25 feet.
Well, and 23 looked really easy. 25 starting to look like a challenge. You'll see that board behind Foster that backboard. That's as far as they are allowed to go back. 25 feet from the vertical face is all the in-run they get. And here we go. Will he make it over the second time?
I say no.
Oh, no!
I jinxed myself. I said no, but look at the sway in the bar. Now, this year we have a new system test, and over the years it has been more rudimentary. Now it is so much more dialed in, and it can sustain a little bit of attack. And the reason why I said no, he's not going to make it is he squirrel dogged it a little bit on the takeoff.
Really, you could see that. Oh, look, that took a big whack. But you could see his back wheel fishtailing there as he was taking off. He gave it just a little too much power from the get-go. But he's over. The pole stayed on. Now let's see what Massimo Bianconcini can do. 25 feet.
Wow.
Whoa.
Hello. He's got some pop.
Wow, real pop. Big straight up and down style, too. Not whipping that bike at all.
From Italy, in case anybody's wondering.
Let's take a look at this again. And that back end really getting kicked up, too. And that'll get kind of scary once we get into the 30-plus feet height.
And Bianconcini broke his wrist at Foz. So not long ago, suffering an injury. He's back. This is a tough event to come back with any kind of injury. Libor Podmal.
That seat balance we talked about, really, he's so nose high on a lot of those takeoffs. And again, you come down from that kind of height and your nose is high. Watch this. Whoa!
And he whips it over towards the pillar there. And
it could be so easy just for the bike to get ripped right out of your hands.
And it's the general, Brian Deegan.
It's amazing.
Wearing his rally helmet.
I love the way he brings the visor down with authority. Oh, interesting. Drove it all the way right. That's where Ronnie Renner went, if you remember.
And Deegan has been around absolutely forever when it comes to the X Games. This is his 38th career start. Now, he says the forks on this bike are really stiff and the shock is kind of soft, which he thinks is a funky setup. And you can see it actually. It looked like it kicked him just a little bit there in that transition as he kinked it a little bit. Very close to the bar, but Deegs is up and over. And that brings Byton.
Everybody so far cleared at 25 feet. Matt Byton going right down the middle, sucks that bike up underneath him. No problem whatsoever for Byton.
Straight out of Minden, Nevada. We talked about all the success he's had over the years. And he is going up against head-to-head, really, at this point, until someone proves their worth or their value, Ronnie Renner. And I remember the first time I met Ronnie in Florida at a freestyle motocross competition. Lots of energy, lots of excitement, lots of skill. Former racer turned freestyler, calls hometown Tampa, Florida.
And just an awesome guy. Really loves life.
There may be nobody really out there that has a better overall personality. And we should mention the starting gate rule that has been changed for this event. For those of you that watched the past X Games, one past actually in Spain, they were starting outside that starting block to the left or right. It has been deemed you cannot do that here in Munich.
Well, because what tends to happen with these freestylers is if you don't give them a back plate, they tend to back it up a little bit further to get the run in.
You don't think they take advantage of the situation, do you, Tess?
Oh, they would never do that. Okay. So, 25 feet, everybody is clear on that height. We are jumping up to a huge 27 feet when Step Up comes back from the Olympiahalle at X Games Munich. Don't miss it. On stage, actually, with Macklemore at the concert the other night, Macklemore and Brian Lewis. Fantastic gig here in Munich, the kickoff X Games. A lot of fun had.
Only the greatest and most fun things happen at the X Games.
I know, it's just incredible. And speaking of great and fun, well, we have Step Up here. We're at 27 feet. If you remember, Brian Foster, who was lined up in the gate, had trouble at 25 feet. Needed 2 attempts to get over it.
And he switched lines. I believe he was on the left one round before. He went to the right side where Renner and Deegan both came from, and that was a big hit. I mean, that wasn't an almost. That was like straight into the bar. And it seems to me, watching Foster here, it seemed like he had a little wiggle going in, and we've talked about the moisture inside this German clay. It is really actually the creamy clay, but the faceless jump is breaking down.
Well, for more on the face of this jump, we go down to the 3rd member of our team, Aaron Bates. Aaron, what you got?
Thanks, Tess. Well, track builder Jesse Olsen said he is completely disappointed that his original plan has backfired. He built the takeoff 2 feet taller than what we've seen so far at X Games this year, standing at 14 feet. The objective was to give these guys a little bit more run-in, which ultimately would have given them more speed to go for more height. However, like you had mentioned, the creamy German clay, the moisture is settled to the bottom of the takeoff, developing these heavy ruts. So the key to tonight is for these guys to find a line that is unused, and quite possibly we're going to see a couple of games being played between the guys. We'll see who's ready to step it up and take this to all new condition.
Thanks, Aaron. And that is really interesting because you could see as Foster went the last time, he hit the rut before he hit the face, and that took some of his speed out.
Even more interesting is he went from the right side on the first attempt. Now on the second attempt, he's going to go to the left side. The ruts are going to be an issue. The ruts are definitely an issue for Ronnie Renner, who likes to carve the face. He can't do it on this step-up setup, so we'll see if Foster can get over. If he hit, and he breaks traction early. That is definitely a bummer when you break traction early. It sets you off. Don't have the tracking. That's 2 hits. Now, technically, Tess,
he's not out yet.
He's not out yet until someone clears it. Let's take another look. See the tire spin and the back and forth. It didn't look like he was going to line up with the rut perfectly, which causes you a problem. The other thing is, it looked like he just really compressed into this rut. You see it just sucked the life out of him. It goes into that moist transition at the bottom and just, well, maybe it wasn't that drastic, but that's kind of how it looked.
But it is almost like running into mud, the way that
it is
dipping so deep. And look at that. Look how deep it is. Wow.
That center rut, and Deegan trying to look at transition there. Here's Ronnie Renner.
Yeah. And like you were saying, this is a big challenge, the difference in the style of jumping from Barcelona to here, and the fact you've almost got to go straight up this one.
And you can see to the right, the ruts don't seem as deep.
Yeah,
that's where Renner and Deegan have been hitting. Bite has been hitting more in the middle.
And you can see even the ruts towards the start there. Italian Massimo Bianconcini. Oh, wow.
It looked lucky. I want to look at that again because it looked like he wedged in the bottom. He got sucked into that soft transition, and it just sent the rear of the bike unloaded a little bit weird. From there, it doesn't really look like it, but from that live shot, it just looked like it kind of set him off. And oh, hello.
Wow. That took it is almost off. Oh, now here's something interesting.
Did the camera hold it on?
Maybe, or is it just dangling on the edge, and the next unfortunate soul who gets close to it?
They're resetting it. We might have an official ruling here.
Yeah, did something interfere? Oh, look at that.
The bar did end up coming off, I guess.
And got hung up?
Hung up on, not sure what.
Oh, you see, and
I thought maybe got hung up on the camera.
Massimo's shaking his head. That's his mechanic Lorenzo, and of course his good friend and our judge here at X Games, Alvaro D'Alfaro, the big Italian team. But the camera, you were right, Cameron, the camera held the bar in place.
It just happened to be right in the perfect spot where the bar is at that height at 27. And Massimo, just so everybody knows, let's take another look. They were bringing it down
and
to
it
reset
fell
it
as they're bringing it down. So, well, that's unfortunate for Massimo. He's going to have to take this one again. If he clears at this height on this jump, Brian Foster will be out of the competition.
But if he doesn't clear, then someone else has to clear to knock both of them out. And Massimo is Josh Hansen's replacement. Unfortunately, Little Haney not able to compete in best whip and the step up. due to a hand injury.
Here we go, 27 feet.
Oh, no. You see, what I'm saying is that they're hitting that transition hard, and it's basically stopping them. And what I'm seeing is instead of the drive straight up and out of the face, projecting the front wheel straight up, I see the rear of the bike lifting earlier as they come out of that transition.
Yeah,
see how the rear lifts out?
Yeah. So you're losing all the power of the drive up the top of the face.
Not only that, it just changes the entire dynamic of your suspension when you compress that hard.
You see here, as the rut goes in, it deepens to about maybe a third of the way up the face. Then it kicks your back tire out.
Yep.
So you're just floating above the dirt at that point. And obviously, Massimo disappointed that he didn't get the free get out of jail card on that first pole hit, but obviously a technical issue.
This is going to be one of those. This is a technical, very technical step-up competition. Sometimes it's just all out going for it. There's always going to be technical aspects to it, but when you develop ruts like this, it's like Supercross, you know? You get to a section where it's super rutted and maybe you can't even hit the section that you want because the rut's so deep. That's kind of the situation here as Libor Podmal from the Czech Republic is asking the crowd to get behind him.
Whoa! And he makes it, knocks out Foster and Bianconcini. So Libor Podmal, the first person to clear 27 feet. And just, I mean, the strangest looking style, but it seems to work for him.
In case anybody's wondering, there's Massimo. He's not happy, I'm sure, as he tries to explain with some of the officials. Just so everybody knows, this is going to be a tough step up, but it already is past our lowest height ever that took the win at X Games, which was the lowest height cleared to win was 23 feet in the past. We're already to 27.
Oh, look at that, just sucking the bike up again. Oh, that's what we're talking about, how hard it is. You land with that nose a little bit high and it gets slapped down to the ground. Ah, the general is coming up to attempt 27.
Deegan, straight out of Omaha, Nebraska. Actually lives in Temecula, California.
I don't think you ever say straight out of Omaha, Nebraska.
Sorry.
But Brian Deegan living in Temecula. And, you know, he's come back to step up, which is interesting. Obviously, you'll see him in rally here at X Games Munich. But he looks ready. He looks like he's having a good time. Oh,
clip.
Was that the same problem as Foster? It looked very similar.
It really, I don't know if he broke traction, just did not look like he had drive going up the face. Remember, he's riding borrowed equipment. He already has told me that he will have his own personal step-up bike at LA, which, of course, we would figure since he lives about an hour and a half away.
Well, that wasn't a good attempt for Brian Deegan. He'll get one more. And for more on Brian, let's head down to Aaron.
Well, guys, at 39 years old, Brian Deegan said that step-up is absolutely brutal on the body, and he's definitely feeling the pain from his past injuries, especially after breaking his wrist and his ankles. He did tape them up severely before he went to rally car practice. You notice he's still wearing his rally car helmet, and he was able to change out of his rally suit, but this is the 13th time he's competed in step-up. He's won 2 bronze medals, but he's still seeking that elusive X Games step-up gold.
Factory Honda tech there, Eric Siriton, actually with the Baja 1000 team, Johnny Campbell Racing. He is here to help a number of the riders. And what you saw him doing there with the long screwdriver blade, I believe he was turning in the suspension to tighten it up. So a suspension adjustment for Deegan. Let's see if it makes a difference on that far right line.
No, not even close.
You know, I really feel like it was the grunt. It was, he really, just to be straight, it just didn't seem like he had the commitment to it that it took. And he said that bike is a little flat, and that may be what it is. He's just not getting that pop out of the transition.
Well, let's listen to Brian's bike when he comes over this.
Just never really, the bike never really engaged. I think he's trying not to spin the wheel, but he has fully built bikes at home, and he's riding what is basically a stock bike here with just a pipe on it.
The claws now on the way out. I tried to hang. I tried to pull back. I was like,
It's great to hear that he could see that bar coming. Oh, well.
Can't get it till like,
So Brian
he's saying the same thing. He can't get the bike to attack it. He wants that. He wants that. And that's what I'm saying. It just didn't like the commitment was there, and it's actually the bike, not what Brian's doing.
So at 27 feet so far, Czech Republic's Libor Podmal is the only one to clear. Foster, Bianconcini, and Deegan all out. Here comes Biden.
No problem. And it looked like he actually, when he took off, he kind of pushed back off the gate. I don't know if you saw that. I know you can't
the officials would have noticed that.
You can't go beyond the gate because it's solid once it's clipped into place.
Watch this. Look how nose high he is, and then
Biden
kicks that thing down. Wow.
Biden is a professional freestyle motocross rider, but Matt Biden is a professional step-up rider.
You see there, he stamps on that brake with his right foot that stops the rear wheel from turning, and it kicks the front of the bike down. And that looked really scary and vertical, but great control.
And for those of you, just a little bit of clarification on the brake. When you stop the brake, it changes the inertia of the motorcycle. Stops the back wheel, brings the front end down. So for years and years, motorcycle riders have used that when they get in a situation where they're, wheel high or front high over a jump or in a situation. There's so many different applications to use the brake other than just stopping, and that's one of them.
But again, when you're going up and your front wheel is basically pointing straight to the rafters, to have the wherewithal and make the commitment to stomp on that brake at the right moment and the right amount of time to bring it down.
Am I crazy, or was Renner going from the right side earlier?
He was going right side.
He's looking for less rut is what he's looking for.
He's going look, remember this new rule. You are not allowed to start outside the width of the gate. So the gate has to technically be behind you.
I'm wondering if he's trying to get, and his tech there, KTM tech, there's some kind of discussion going on. Chad Schweitzer helping him there in the gate, and now I wonder if Renner's going to go all the way left like the new line. No, he's trying to cross the line.
But his start, I mean, he didn't deliver power.
It was like Deegan. It was very weird. It just looked like there was a lack, again, I say commitment. I'm not riding the bike, I'm not sitting there, but it just looks like he's not getting the pop out of it.
Well, let's take a look at the last time he went to hit this when he cleared at 25. All the way right. Easy.
I'm not sure why would he change unless he saw something develop in the rut, but he's trying to do his kind of crisscross line, and what happens when you're doing that, when you have a bigger rut, your front tire will start to wedge the knobs up the side, and it can not only pull you to the side, it can wedge like a brake as you're turning in that rut.
The surprise there, though, was the sound, because you could tell
he just looked at
delivering power.
I agree.
Is this now starting to get to him? You think it's getting in his head?
He's thinking about it because he started the comp and talked about it before. He likes to have that kind of, as he hits a transition, he likes to turn into the face, and he likes to get that whip in. He hasn't been able to do that with these ruts, and now not only that, he's switching lines mid-comp, which is something you would do if you were smart looking for new lines, but also at the same time, you might be chasing because you're not liking your old line for some reason.
Well, now the pressure is on. Podmal and Biden have both cleared. Renner missed on that first attempt. And here we go, attempt number 2.
And he gets in. Now what's interesting, you talked about he didn't have the punch. And I agree, and there he didn't have the punch at first, but then he really
delivered it.
I'm wondering if on the one before that he just didn't feel that he had the traction or positioning or the lineup on the rut that he could really get into the throttle.
Here you see him take off, still that little bit of spin, and you see when he did deliver the power, how much of that dirt was thrown out of the back tire.
So 3 riders are up and over 27 feet. Renner, Biden, and Podmal. Foster, Bianconcini, and Deegan eliminated.
So we have 3 riders left in this step-up competition. We've all cleared 27 feet. The bar is going to go up here in the Olympiahalle in Munich. Step up coming back when we return.
But that's a tough road to hoe with two guys that have the experience in step-up that we're talking about here. We're now at 28 feet. I believe Podmall could be in this for a few more, but I still think it's going to come down to Renner and Bite.
Here we go. And again, very no time. Is he down?
Oh, no, he pulls it.
That's really interesting. The rule states that you have to ride away. So, did he get this on the landing? What will the officials say?
You can dab it, you can squirrel dog it, you can do anything you want. If you don't separate from your motorcycle and the bike's not laying down at the end, it's all good. This is an X game. This isn't like, I mean, this isn't.
It's so what we were talking about.
That's a complete.
With Matt Bite, we talked about how he stomped on that back brake under the right foot. Watch this. He's so nose high.
I can't believe he held on to it. I thought he was A, going to throw it away, and B, I thought he was going to get whipped down.
Did he get aired off the bike a little bit and couldn't get the foot to the brake?
That's what I thought. He got squirrely and had his foot off on the takeoff.
Oh, that's incredible. So here we go. Watch this. See, his foot isn't. He never gets the brake. Oh, wow. He bounces on the back fender.
He's really lucky that he didn't hit his foot first. Coming down from 28 feet, if his foot would have hit first, that would have been a stinger, to say the very least.
So an amazing and very lucky clearance there. Libor Podmall here to fight. Oh, grabbing a handful. He really is attacking this. He's not afraid of that wheel spin at all.
I'd like to see that again.
Ah, so aggressive. That was some good style. Here we go.
Another look. You see him just, he stomped on both pegs and got the track and just got on it.
Is he trying maybe to get a little bit of the suspension activated and so it maybe rebounds better? What an interesting technique. I mean, he really stomped that thing. And again, just like Libor Podmall, super nose high, but he's got so much control. And hanging out with his dad as Ronnie Renner runs into the gate now. It's 28 feet. Both Podmall and Biden got over. Last time,
you can see, watch, he sidetracks, and then all of a sudden, really, once he gets lined up, he really hits the throttle. And I want to know, they might have something special ticking inside that KTM and that gearbox.
Well, let's find out what's going down on the floor and go back down to Aaron Bates. Aaron.
Well, you guys, I just spoke with Ronnie Renner, and he said that this takeoff has a serious head game going on, but he's trying not to overthink things. His strategy is just to take it old school, straight up the middle, but he's definitely scratching his head on this one, but he said he is planning on pulling out all the stops.
I mentioned earlier that Biden, thank you, Aaron. I mentioned earlier about Biden being a professional step-up rider, as is Renner, and what I mean by that is they are truly consummate professionals. They train on this. They understand it. They build their bikes for it. Some of the other riders, although they do some of the same, I really feel that Biden and Renner are a whole other level.
Good delivery of power there. Renner, no problem. So he is over. They have all cleared 28 feet.
The best thing so far, you know, what Aaron said about in Ronnie's head. That's a huge problem. If you have something that's really dinging you, especially if he's looking at Biden, who's laughing and smiling and feeling comfortable.
Much better. The delivery of power all the way through the power band there was smooth, and look how high he got. But he's using a style similar to Biden's. He's not doing the typical whipped out Ronnie Renner, cross the face, step up jump. So this is a bigger challenge for Renner, I think, than the other two riders. Podmall and Biden both are perfect scores. They have not missed any attempts, and Renner obviously has a miss, so that may count in a tiebreaker.
That is a sledgehammer, or a sledgehammer.
And here's a question for you, Cameron.
He's trying to
Does
knock
this
down
really do something, or is it a mental thing?
No, what he's doing, he's not actually packing the actual rut. He's packing the edge. See how he's widening it a little bit? Because he may want to carve a bit. So he doesn't want to get stuck in that edge. And all three of them up there working together.
ESPN's exclusive coverage of the X Games continues tomorrow with skateboard, BMX, and rally car. X Games Munich tomorrow at 1 Eastern on ABC, then continues at 7 on ESPN. X Games Munich step-up competition. All three riders still in the comp have cleared at 28 feet. Libor Podmall, Matt Buyten, and Ronnie Renner, and now they are working furiously on that step-up lip, trying to get anything they can out of it.
Well, I'm interested. You can see where they're hitting with the big sledge. They're trying to widen that line in the center there, so I think so they can carve it. But also, even if you're not going to carve it, you don't want that outside knob catching the edge. And it looks like to me, of course, I'm not right there, but it looks like that rut is about 3 inches deep down in the transition. And what we've been talking about all night is that this clay, this creamy clay from Germany was brought in 7 days ago. And the idea wasn't for it to dry out because there's been a ton of rain here. But what's happened is the moisture has gone from the top of the landing into the base towards the bottom. And it's made the transition, which is at that base, very gooey, a little bit soft, and that's why the ruts are developing.
And you could see it when they were hammering with the sledge there, that the thing just sinks in. It was like, you know, playing with silly putty. Here we go. Oh! And wow! How does he hold on to that? So we both thought the same thing. He lost power because he's all over the place fishtailing on the approach. He almost hits the upright, and then he lands way off the side of the landing. But it's a clear attempt.
I think they like it in Munich.
Oh, everything seemed to go wrong there.
It looks like he was definitely aiming to that side. And he
just keeps drifting.
Let's take a look at this landing.
Oh, and wow, that was close.
Somehow he pulled it.
Giddy up. And watch everybody else. SBN Cuccini looking on. I don't think anybody can believe that he made that one.
29 feet. He has set the bar, clearing at 29 feet.
Ooh. That really,
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there is a spoiler in this thing.
So here we go. Buyten. Again, aggressive. Oh, up and under.
I just don't think he had the drive, and he knew it. You know, he curtailed it. He started turning to set himself up for the landing. He knew he was going through the bar, I think, pretty much right away as he left the lip.
So there we go. Matt Buyten missing at 29 feet. He has to re-rack and do it again. Second attempt.
First miss for Buyten.
Look at how crazy deep those ruts are getting, though.
Let's take a look. He just gets sucked
His whole
into that
bike
transition.
goes sideways.
Yeah, it spits him out, and the turning sideways, which he normally doesn't do, that could be a product of getting stuck in the transition a little bit with the wet dirt. Sucks the life, the power out of the bike. It could also be a little bit from cross-rutting as he starts to stick. If he turns the bars even just a hair, he can catch the side of that knobby and pull him sideways.
And I think that's what you really were seeing there, because he really was just turning in the rut, which was, you know, it seems crazy as you're going vertical, but it looked like that knobby really just caught where he's kicking right now. The side knobby on the back tire just basically spun him off his axis. We got a little bit more on that too. Let's go back down to Aaron.
Thanks, Des. What Matt Buyten said, these ruts are really throwing a whole new kink in the program. It's already tough enough. He has to concentrate on body positioning, then the gas, then the clutch, and then he's going to be 100% committed. He said the problem is that it changes every single jump, so he needs to continue to adapt.
Thanks, Aaron. You can see now the stress is starting to build for Matt Buyten. He has to get over this or he's eliminated.
Ooh, and that did not look good.
Wow, that's incredible. Matt Buyten at 29 feet is out of our step-up competition, a 4-time gold medalist in the step-up, and that means only one man can actually take down Libor Podmall, and it's Ronnie Renner.
I mean, just looking here, he looked a little unsettled, but it really was right when he hit the rut. You could see the bike kind of side edged into the rut, came in a little bit off edge, or came a little bit on the edge, and then just never got the pop out of it.
I love the way he looks down at the bar as it falls off and realizes, that's it, I'm done. So
it looks like Renner's going to go straight up the guts of it, right up the middle.
He really, and again, we've got to explain, he really favors that whip style over the bar. But in this competition, because of the ruts, he's being forced to drive it straight.
And the experience it takes and the ability it takes to be able to adapt on the fly, to change to these ruts, to adapt to how your bike's flying out of the rut when you don't expect it. I mean, the talent here is amazing, to say the very least. Matt Buyten obviously disappointed, but this has been one heck of a competition. It just goes to show you that, you know, with this step-up competition, the bar doesn't have to be at 40 feet for it to be incredibly tough.
Yeah, and you see the disappointment there on Matt Buyten's face. He looked so happy, so confident, so powerful the round before, and just, you know, slammed to the basement.
Well, Podmall is the only athlete to ever earn an X Games medal that wasn't born in the United States here in the step-up competition. It was a bronze. He is guaranteed no less than silver at this point because Buyten is eliminated. Could Podmall be the first ever to earn a gold medal here in the step-up?
He's looking pretty good right now. He is sitting, as they say, in the catbird seat because he's cleared on his first attempt at 29 feet. Matt Buyten, 4 times gold medalist, out of the competition. Ronnie Renner is the only person that can keep this competition moving. And he's taken his time making sure he makes the right choice.
And just for the record books, Libor Podmall would not be the first athlete from the Czech Republic to earn a gold medal. He would be the second, as Tony Hawk watches on.
Tony Hawk is just loving X Games.
He'd be the first rider or first athlete from the Czech Republic since 1995. That's when the gold is earned in mountain bike trials.
Wow. So Renner is prepared. He's putting the goggles on.
And the fun part is we still have more Moto tonight.
This is exhausting already.
That medal in 1995 going to Libor Karas, I believe, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Ironically, Libor.
Another Libor.
Does Renner have this? That's the question.
Well, he looks a little bit nervous, but Ronnie can take the pressure and really deliver. Here we go.
Oh, he got squirrely going in. ×2. He was squirrely in the middle of the run-in, and then when he hit the face,
he just, again, wasn't driving. Look at Libor. One more attempt for Ronnie Renner to get over 29 feet. That attempt is standing between Libor Podmall and a step-up gold medal at X Games. Oh, yeah, real deep rut there.
Real deep rut. You know, I saw Ronnie. He was working at the top of the rut, trying to hammer that down. But it was really the bottom of the rut that really sent him off. He's not happy. And as Aaron said, you know, it's in his head. And that is something tough to overcome. Now, if you were to pick it, Tess, coming into the event, you got Deegan, Buyten, Renner. Deegan not so much a factor, but Podmall for a gold medal possibly.
Podmall, when I talked to him today, looked really happy, really relaxed and confident. And I saw a very confident Matt Buyten. But, you know, Renner really, it kind of surprised me when he was in the whip competition that he looked really relaxed. You know, I thought, okay, good. They're all coming in with their A game. But
look at the ruts.
The challenge in this rut, I mean, look how deep that rut is.
Now, see, now Ronnie's going to go to work. I was saying he was working on the top of it earlier. I'm saying it's more the middle bottom that's the issue, and that he's starting to work here in the middle. If I was him, I would, you know, they're not telling him he's got to hurry, right? So bust down as much of the rut as you want to.
Well, I think at some point we're going to have to move things. Look at that. We're going to have to move this thing along. Podmall just waiting on the sidelines. He's from Prague. I mean, that's 365 kilometers from here. That's 266 miles, if you need to recalculate that.
I want to know if you did the math yourself.
You know, I'd love to say that I did do the math, but we have a fantastic research department that does an awful lot of work for us. And The math came from our awesome researcher, BJ. Okay, so Renner's, he's back in the similar line, and I think the problem wasn't necessarily the face, but when you look at that approach where he really starts to deliver the gas.
He broke traction.
That's where he's dropping. The rut is actually building, and this is pretty unusual for step up. The rut is actually building before the vertical face, before the transition.
All right, crystal ball time test. What do you think? Is he making it or he's not making it?
If anyone can come through when the pressure's on, it's Ronnie Renner. But I think the fact that this is just such an alien step-up environment for him where he doesn't have free rein to go all over that, you know, that takeoff face, I got a feeling this may be Libor Podmall's night.
Wow. I think Renner gets over this. And
Renner knocks the bar. He is out. Libor Podmall from the Czech Republic, the first non-American rider to win gold in the step-up.
The first rider from the Czech Republic to win a gold medal since 1995.
Oh, that's awesome. Renner coming over to congratulate him, and I think a very well-earned victory for Libor Podmall, who had two of the most unusual landings, but he landed them. He stayed attached to the bike, as you said, Cam. And, oh, man, he is going to be ecstatic tonight.